Well, that kind of wraps up our discussion on the modern horror makers of Eggers, Peele, and Astor. We're going to quickly kind of touch on two modern horror filmmakers in terms of body horror, which is Julia Ducournau, who has directed both Titane and Raw being in 2016, Titane in 2021. And then we have Brandon Cronenberg, obviously the son of David Cronenberg, who is a longtime iconic horror director and very similar styles in terms of body horror. Brandon Cronenberg has Antiviral from 2012, and then he kind of took a gap break, and then 2020 had Possessor, and then this year he had Infinity Pool. We'll just have an open discussion on all of them. I've only seen one out of the five. I've only seen Infinity Pool. I haven't seen any Julia Ducournau. So I'll let you guys kind of jump into the conversation here, wherever you want to start with these two.
I unfortunately have not seen any Julia Ducournau.
Do you want me to just touch on
Yeah, you could touch on that.
I thought you'd seen Titane, I guess.
I had no. That I swear that's like...
I need to see Titane, for
That's
sure.
been on my watch list since the day it was released. And then, Brandon Cronenberg, I've only seen Possessor and Infinity Pool. I didn't even know. I thought Possessor was his debut, if I'm being honest. I didn't know he had a film prior to that.
No, Antiviral was with the guy from Get Out, you know, the brother? The brother in the family.
Yeah.
Rachel, what's his name? Caleb Landry Jones. That's the one. Yeah, because he was in 3 Billboards as well. Yeah. So Julia, how do you pronounce her name? Did you search that, Tyler? Because I actually have no
did
idea.
not. It's a very French name, man. Ducournau is what I'm saying.
Ducournau. Yeah. So she is, for me, like one of the most exciting for filmmakers in the space right now, especially female filmmakers as well, because there's been a very a lack of prominent female filmmakers in the horror industry for quite some time, and I think she is. So first of all, obviously, she released Raw, which is in 2016. Raw is like, people compare it a lot to Bones and All because it's a coming of age kind of cannibal movie, which really takes the elements from that, but it's a lot more outrageous, I would say, and visceral in terms of its imagery. She as a filmmaker is very full on. Like, when people say like, "Oh, I couldn't even finish the film, I was sick," I'm like that's ridiculous. With her films, I completely understand. There is some fucking weird shit. Like, there were points where even I look away in her films, but it's very intelligent. She makes really intelligent coming of age films. So she came up with Raw, which is the beautiful coming of age, but it's kind of masked in this cannibal take of a woman kind of growing up, and it's stylish and it's outrageous and it really like pushed the boundaries. And then, so I give that a 4-star. I do really like that. I think you both would probably like it as well. But she released Titane in 2021. I watched Titane for the first time with Anna, actually, and she even quite liked it, which she said a lot in July. And then I watched it again last week, so it's kind of fresh on the mind. So I put it as a 4.5 first watch and a 5-star last week. So it actually comes in at like, it officially is in my top 10 horrors ever. Body horror is a little bit different, but it's probably one of the most interesting films of the past 20 years in terms of how much it has. She really takes a drive on queer relationships, on sexuality, on physical violence, family dynamics, being human, identity, understanding oneself. And I think what is so great about a film like Titane is the ambiguous nature. Like, George, I know I've told you this, but you need to watch it.
I know.
There's so much shit in this film where it's like, it needs multiple watching. I think the best thing about it as well, if you go on like Titane I'm just checking now. So I'm going to read you guys the synopsis of Titane on both Google and Letterboxd because they're completely different. So this is the Google one. A woman with a titanium plate fitted in her head and a murderous intent on her mind embarks on a bizarre journey of identity and unconditional love when she's forced to go on the run. Okay, that's the Google one.
Normal.
The Letterboxd one is, following a series of unexplained crimes, a former firefighter is reunited with his son who has been missing for 10 years.
Those are two different movies.
Yeah, well, that's what you think. And then you go into it and you're like, oh my God, this is what I'm...
Isn't Titane the movie... Like, doesn't she fuck a car?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in terms of automobiles. So that is part of it. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's so interesting because there's so much in the film that kind of puts you in the middle of nowhere, and it's so thrilling and it's almost comedic and stylish, but it's so outrageous with this imagery. There's some fucking gruesome shit in it, like really gruesome. But she tackles sexuality in a way that I've not really seen many filmmakers do, and definitely one of the most excited filmmakers coming out today. I don't know if she's got any more films coming up. I don't know if she's working on anything. I think she is, but I would definitely say I know Tyler's not here right now, but I definitely say to both of you. Oh, wait. She's doing something with A24. Wow.
Whoa.
Interesting. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, George, I'd definitely say you need to watch both of them because
Okay.
you liked Bones and All, didn't you?
Yeah, I liked Bones and All. Wouldn't say I loved Bones and All. But yeah,
Imagine Bones and All, but like
worse.
better and more disgusting. Now, Raw, I think Raw is like so. Raw is some people actually they're actually the same rating on Letterboxd, both at 3.7. It is they're both of a polarizing nature because they are pretty grim in parts, but they have so much to say. I'd say start with Raw and then watch Titane, but it's one of those. There's some of those films where you need kind of multiple watches to really understand everything because, like I said, with the titles and with the headline, with the synopsis. When I first watched it with Anna, I was like, "Why is this two different films?" Do you know what I mean? Like, it's literally the synopsis couldn't be any different, any more different. So yeah, I'd say obviously I'll stop talking about it there, but I think she's one of the most powerful and exciting, not just female filmmakers, but filmmakers working in the industry today. I will let George talk about Brandon Cronenberg because I've actually not seen Possessor, so I'm not too sure on that one. I did watch Infinity Pool, so I'll touch on that.
Yeah, Brandon Cronenberg. I mean, I think at this point, 2 films in, I could just say I'm not a Brandon Cronenberg fan. Possessor was probably the most uncomfortable experience I've ever had with a movie because I watched it with my parents. And if you've seen Possessor,
Did you watch it before or after Infinity Pool?
Before, yeah.
Okay.
I watched.
If it was after, I'd be like, "That's your own fault for watching."
Have you watched a Cronenberg before Possessor, like a David?
Yeah. I watched Possessor when it like came. I don't know. I saw the synopsis again. I watched Possessor like when it came out to streaming, like immediately. Like
when did it come out?
2020, I think it was a 2020 film.
Oh shit.
But again, it's one of those things. Like here, let me read you the synopsis on Letterboxd. Like it's not a crazy thing. It's like a very, it sounds like a cool movie. An elite corporate assassin uses brain implant technology to take control of other people's bodies to terminate high-profile targets. As she sinks deeper into her latest assignment, she becomes trapped inside the mind that threatens to obliterate her. Like that just sounds like a cool
honestly.
Yeah, it sounds like a cool psychological, action thriller type of movie. I was wrong, not that. So that was just a really uncomfortable experience. I find myself, and I say, and this includes Infinity Pool as well, and honestly, this can include some David Cronenberg films as well. I find they care a lot more about shock value than their narrative. And obviously, all the credit to them, they do put some shocking things on screen. We could even touch on Crimes of the Future. That's more shocking to me than it is like a movie I find myself caring about. Whether it be like the characters or the setting or like the plot. So I just don't think I connect as well with the Cronenbergs, particularly Brandon, as much as I would like. Infinity Pool was one of those movies. Tyler, I think you said this about Nope and Us, where at the end of it, I was just kind of like, oh, that's it? Like, that's where the movie's going to end? So it was just kind of like an overwhelming feeling of... I don't know what word I'm looking for. But yeah, I don't know. I don't connect with the Cronenbergs as much as I think a lot of other people have. I used to blame it on the body horror aspect, but the more horror films I watch, the more I just don't think I mind the body horror. I just think it's their narratives. I think they lack the ability to tell a compelling story, and they care just a little bit more about that shock value than they do about their screenplays.
I will say, like, David is a little bit different because he's done so many films, and there are a lot. To be fair, there's actually a lot of his where I felt the same. There's a lot of the Cronenberg films which are not reliant on shock value, but there are some that certainly are. Like you said, Infinity Pool was a weird film for me. Like I really liked the first kind of half an hour of it, but I got really bored, to be honest, and I just didn't care what was happening apart from Mia Goth, but that's a different story, of course. But like, I don't know, man. Like, I think Infinity Pool is cool. I haven't seen Possessor. I think his style is definitely different from David in the way that he portrays things. But I think, again, it does heavily use this kind of shocking imagery. I will say some of the sequences in Infinity Pool with like the strobe lights and stuff, I think are in Possessor as well. They're really cool. But I just didn't care that much, to be honest, about anything that was going on. I'd be keen to see your thoughts on Infinity Pool, Tyler. I do think you'd kind of align with us. Oh, you've seen it. What did you think of it?
I still have it pulled up alongside Peel, Eggers, and Aster, so it'd be the lowest of all of them, but it's a 6.6, and I really liked it. And I do kind of want to rewatch it because I was intrigued by quite a bit from it. I don't know, it's super creative and interesting. I enjoyed a lot of aspects of it, didn't care for a lot of aspects of it. So it's, it's a 3.5 barely for me, but I liked it. I mean, a big thing I think for why I rated so high is Mia Goth's performance is incredible. Like, she's so commanding on the screen, so terrifying. And Alexander Skarsgård's a nice treat in there as well. And there's some fun scenes for sure. A lot of fun montage scenes of like them doing the crimes or like, them getting devolving down into this crazy world of debauchery that they're in. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, it wasn't amazing for me. Although my friend really loves it. It's one of his favorite movies because he doesn't watch a ton of movies. I'm trying to get him into it. And when it came out, I paid for his movie ticket. I was like, because I saw it and I was like, what the fuck was this movie? So I was like, I'll pay for your movie ticket. Just go watch this movie. I just want your thoughts on it. And then he did. And he ended up loving it. I was like, okay, I actually didn't. I was kind of hoping he would come out and like, why the fuck you make me watch that? But
I know a few people who really, really liked Infinity Pool. Like, it's one of their favorites of the year. I get it. But it's just, I don't know. There wasn't really much I could latch on to. I am keen to watch Possessor, though, because I think that sounds quite interesting. But again, like George said, maybe it's actually not that interesting. Maybe the title, the synopsis just makes you think it's interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not, it's not someone I'm like crazy about tackling their filmography or anything like that. I think Julia Ducournau, whatever, I think I'm much more excited about her. Because if Brandon Cronenberg is anything like David, it's going to be a very tumultuous relationship between us two. It's going to be a very up and down relationship that I'm not sure I'm ready for. So yeah, I'm much more excited about her than I am with him. And I think body horror as well. Like, it either really works for me, or it really doesn't. I either care a lot or I don't care. Crimes of the Future, I don't care. Titane, I really do care. Very back and forth. It depends what else is going on in the film. It depends how much in the narrative I'm interested in. But yeah, body horror is very. I love or hate. It's very much that kind of aspect. I'm sure it's the same for George as well.